Welcome to the first episode in July of Born in Trouble, and I'm your host, John X. We need the best, and what do they say? They say men who get together and coalesce and just speak about brotherhood, that type of conversation. Number one in some odd search for Google. Yes, this is us, Born in Trouble. We ain't been around for a minute, but in case you don't know, Grant Lancaster, he's been around for a minute. That's my man, the City Bling King. Say what's up, people.
Sir, yes, sir. What's happening, people?
All right.
What up, though?
And what up, though? And the host of the Men, Money, and Marriage podcast, the 313, Mr. Andrew Johnson.
What up, fellas? Long time no see.
Yes, sir.
No see. I have to take the blame for this. It seems as if Samson's hair grew and made him stronger, and it made my voice weaker. So, but I still got the Afro. I'm going to do a new promo on the show, and I'm going to start it with Afro. Afros. You old if you know what that means.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You know what that is. So what's good, y'all, man? How y'all feeling, my Afro-American, Afro, non-Afro Latino brothers, or Afro, maybe Argentinian? Oh, no, you can't be Afro-Argentinian because if you were Afro-Argentinian, you'd probably be Mortar.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Or ethnic cleansed.
Ethnically cleansed. What's good, y'all? We're gonna start it off with a light topic. So, fellas, did you miss the show? Did you miss it? Did you miss the conversation? Tell me in terms of let's do it. Let's do something. We'll try an exercise, right? Grant, you're a runaway Argentinian slave.
Right.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Who do you root for? Do you root for Argentina or do you root for Spain?
Man, I just root to get away. That's a rock and a hard place there, bruh. I mean, can I be an African slave from Argentina? They don't really like to have black folks in Argentina.
Well, they claim
historically anyway.
They claim different. Andrew, What do you think? Tell me, what's your take? You're an Atlanta runaway slave. The other ones, you seem to Atlanta runaway Argentinian slave. Okay.
Well, I think currently right now, Argentina's black population is between 1% and 2%. It used to be much higher, but as you know, right, they were forced out.
I thought you were going to say 1 or 2 people.
That might be about the same. But apparently though, John, that 2%, there's not one player in that 2% that was good enough to make the team.
Oh wow, that's odd.
So they just didn't have enough talent, I guess. Considering that the other teams had some on their team, but they just couldn't find the right one, I guess.
That goes against the odds. It goes against the odds. Look at American sports.
Yeah,
I mean, we're 12% of the population and 99% of the athletes.
Yeah, well, in Argentina, it don't work that way.
Must be something in the water there.
Yeah, it could be.
Argentina don't want you.
Yeah,
they don't care what you can do.
In Atlanta, they had to play some of their games there, and I think that's just from the reaction that they were giving, that was the most black people they ever seen in their life.
Really?
And they had no problem. I give the Argentinians credit for this. They had no problem expressing their feelings, about some of them black people there,
Really?
and they had no problem putting their hands up and getting knocked out. So
Really?
I give them a lot of credit for taking one for the team.
Well,
I mean,
that's
Be yourself.
yeah, so
Well-
a few of them got, you know, the 2 piece and the biscuits, and then a couple of them, you know, had to go to sleep. But they said what they had to say, and they meant it, and you know, they paid a little bit of a price for it. I'm pretty sure ain't gonna change their thought process on anything, and they go back home in runner-ups this year.
Well, I mean, that's a direction that we're going to in the United States here with a lot of people. They said what they were going to say because they're confident that they're better than you.
Yeah. But you know something, John? I just found this out not too long ago. A lot of the people, even in the Latin American countries, like I talked to some people who are from Colombia. I've talked to some people from Panama who I know, and they seem to have problems with the Argentinians too. I don't know. They just said, when I talked to them, they just said that they you know, they say they walk around with their nose in the air. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but I mean, that's what a lot of them are saying, the same things.
They're in a league of their own. Like they really are. It's like you know, that's why nobody's really upset about. It's like, this is not like you're talking about, you know, that other community that you can't even say anything bad about, whatever. These guys are like, you know, you can say anything about the Argentinians because not only are they doing the bad things, so are the other guys. They're doing the bad things, and everybody knows it. It's just that everybody just hates the way that they behave because they really are. I mean, look, this is a bloodline that they took. When I first learned about Argentina years ago, it's like I literally, like, after I read what I read about Argentina, I like went into, like, you know, a deep, like I guess like a chill, a phase where I just, like, I was like, wow, like I couldn't believe that a country could be so evil with what they did. You know, and people that don't know that, like, you know, in the world of the internet and everything, this week I was seeing some stuff, and they were saying, like, people are just like, they're just like, this is a dumber country than it was like 20 years ago. And that's just the God's honest truth. It just really is. People aren't reading. They don't read as much. They're not even trying to care. And because it doesn't matter. Because if you've got Google, you don't have to remember anything. But the reason why I'm saying this is because when I read that and I actually learned that fact of what they did with they had soldiers and regiments that they had of Black or African citizens of their country. And they had all of those people fighting in the same places. And they took them to this war and this battle where these soldiers would be fighting on lower ground, and the enemies were basically surrounding them and able to shoot down on them. And the only outcome that could come out of that entire battle was that your troops would be decimated. And there was no reason for them to have that, for them to engage at that point in time. But they did. That is genocide.
Well, you know something, John? A lot of people don't know. Well, younger people, well, our generation probably knows this, but you know, that's where a lot of, after World War II, a lot of Germans fled to Argentina.
Right.
And that's number one. And number two, I believe, and I'm not going to give you it's going to be hard for me. I'm going to approximate, but I think it's at least 40% of people from Argentina, you know, have an Italian bloodline. So between, you know, it's going to have some Italian mixture in there with German as well. And a lot of people might not be aware of that. I don't know. That's, I think the Italian bloodline is the biggest of the different ethnicities there.
Now, when we talk about this, and this is like, you know, kind of like the conversations we've been having around the world. It's like, you know, all of these races against every race. It's Blacks against Argentinians, against Black, against Spaniards, against you know, Italians, against, like, you know, Egyptians, against Greeks, against, you know, all this race stuff, all these race politics and everything. You know, the big thing now is the movie with, you know, Lupita and everything, and she's playing Helena Troy, and everybody's upset, and they're saying like, what would Plato say? I don't know. What would Plato's teachers at the universities in Alexandria say? You know, it's like y'all have no fucking clue about like this history and the history of the world. And like, you know, you think that this thing like called race was a thing that was being propagated back then. Those people were trying to get that knowledge, and when they got that knowledge and they decided to take over power, and you know, the victors write the stories. That's just basically it.
Right. In Elon gonna make a historically accurate Odyssey next? Isn't that his deal? He gonna make a historically accurate Odyssey.
Is that what he said?
Yeah. So he's gonna make a historically accurate work of fiction.
It'll probably be good as Robert Guccioni's Caligula. You know, that's what you get when you get these guys making.
And it's gonna be AI.
It's gonna be AI. It'll be beautiful.
Be AI.
It'll be wonderful. You know what I'm saying?
But John, remember, there's a lot of people upset when they were talking about Idris Elba playing James Bond 007.
Yeah,
because they said they were saying, you know, it needs to be, you know, a white character, but it's a spy. So what difference does it make what color it is?
Same thing when the young sister did Little Mermaid. Haley.
Yes.
Yeah, when she did the Little Mermaid, it was the same thing.
They get mad at fictitious characters being a certain color, I guess.
Right.
Well, they're just obsessed. They're obsessed with everything that goes on because it's this reality where you can't exist because they exist. We're seeing more of it come out. You know, I saw it today, like, you know, a guy, you know, upset because his neighbor was driving a Mercedes in his neighborhood, a black guy driving a Mercedes in his neighborhood. Look at the whole Jaylen Brown situation in like Boston. You know, we've been here so long that the Boston Celtics we haven't been here so long. The Boston Celtics broke up their whole team. And the reason why they broke up their whole team was that the brother, you know, their best player this past season was too smart.
Right. Where'd you learn Octagon?
Like what the fuck? You know, he was like B. I didn't know he was the smartest guy in the room when you drafted him.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, but that's the thing. Like, I mean, he went to Cal Berkeley, right? That's supposedly one of the best schools in the nation.
That's the West Coast's version of Ivy League.
Right. Did a TED Talks, like as a rookie, was on the union for the players union or whatever. I mean, the dude is clearly brilliant, but we don't like that.
So you had to trade him.
The argument is, I had gotten into an argument when I was teaching DEI back in the day, and the subject came up of Herschel Walker running for Senate in Georgia. And I got him upset because I stated this and made the statement, and I just said, the only reason why you would vote for someone like Herschel Walker is because you know he will do exactly what he's told. You won't vote for someone like me because I'm going to ask questions, and you don't like that from your blacks. You want them to just follow orders, and they got mad at me for saying that. But that's essentially the truth. That's the type of person they're looking for because it checks off a box.
Well, I mean, if we're being honest about it, and like, you know, one of the reasons why I haven't had a show in a little bit of a amount of time is because of the fact that this race thing is like, it's serious business. And these people are really crazy about it. They're really tight about it, about all these things. But the truth of the matter is like, this is not our bag. This is not anything that we control and everything. It's always them. It's always going to be them. It's always going to be up to them how they're going to act and how they're going to respond to different things. They're it's like in this world, it's like if somebody is accusing you of something, they're usually the ones that are doing it. It's just really that simple. So we know who the violent ones are. You know, we know who the ones are that are attacking the women. You know, we know who the ones are that are attacking the kids and everything. we can get everything. We can get all the information. What we can't get is safety and justice.
Well, you got to keep the lie going though. As the kind of people that run this country, you got to keep the lie going, because proximity to the concept of whiteness is what a lot of people hang their hats on. They know they ain't gonna never get shit out of life. You know what I mean? But to them, it's better for them to make 10,000 and you make 5 than for you to make 20 and they make 15. You know what I mean? Like they don't want to do better. They just want to do better than you.
Well, Grant, you can go a step further. They will take a cut in salary.
Absolutely.
As long as they are slightly ahead of you.
Yeah, you know what?
That's the issue. Like we all could be making more.
Y'all are right, and we have to change this, because you know what? This is like a familiar conversation. We literally come full circle, and we always come to the same fucking conclusion. That, like, it's really like it's almost like, because it's like it's crazy when you think about it. Like, I can't imagine hating something or somebody so much that I would I would take a cut just because I don't want them to have something. Like, you and me, Grant, we had a long conversation today about things and people who achieve things and like what it is. I won't give the context, but it's like,
yeah, but the thing about it is it's all a myth, right? It's all the fear of probably elimination. I don't know, because you got to know that, like, we're the global majority, right? You have to know that.
Yeah.
So maybe it's the fear of extinction that forces them to push this narrative of white, forces them to push this narrative of white superiority, even though we know that they have inferiority complexes. Like you can't be allergic to the sun and be superior.
Well, yeah. On the global extinction piece, I wanted to ask Andrew a question, because I saw this thing with Dr. Umar this week, and once again he was saying, like, don't procreate with the white women. Do you think it's a possibility that Umar is a plant to stop Black men from procreating with white women and vice versa? Because this is something. Let me just finish this as one thought.
You got it.
Because this is something that we've used throughout history to change civilizations. Genghis Khan went into China and everything with the Mongols, and he fucked all the Chinese women, and he changed the fucking bloodlines forever to where they're fucking Mongols, and some of those women are absolutely beautiful. I know that. But these things. Do you think that in terms of like what you just said, Grant, with the whole thing about like, the kids, do you think that, Umar, it's possibly that we've missed Umar the entire time, and what his job is to, kind of check Black people and stop them from fucking having Black babies?
Well, I just simply say if that's the case, he's not doing a good job. because it seems like it's the reverse effect is happening.
Yeah.
But hey,
that's a fact.
Yeah.
I mean, he sells his stuff, his message, whatever, he sells it as best he can, but I mean, that's not going to stop people from doing something that's considered taboo in our country for 400 years.
Taboo.
For 400 years. I mean, are we going to sit here and deny the fact that there was some things going on in those slave quarters that shouldn't have been going on? I mean, it is what it is.
Wah, 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 wah. I'm just thinking that the blue music should start playing. Wah, 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 wah. Yeah, can't stop it. But they're trying to. To. And the whole point is like, like Grant said, breathing them out.
Yeah.
I
mean, so I'm at the firehouse. It's the D League game on.
Mm-hmm.
All 60% of the players look like they're biracial, 6'4" to 6'10", real fair skin with an afro. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that we fucking them out of existence, but
it's talking about the NBA.
it's possible. It's possible.
There is you're starting to see that look that he's describing.
Yeah, like
You know?
it's prevalent, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, and it's something that you don't really think about because that's, or at least I don't think about it, and I don't think about it because I don't really care, right?
Right.
I recognize that these things are just concepts that are made up by this country and by the founding fathers of this country in order to push a narrative. I don't subscribe to that narrative, so I don't really look and see. But when you see, you know, the clone, this same fucking clone on every team, dog, it's wild, dog.
Yeah. You know, I see it more in college now. You know, in the college game than I do so in the pro. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But consider this, because in the D League, a lot of them are coming from overseas in the D League. And that's the rub right there, is that they coming from.
But Grant, you're making an interesting point, because I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but in Eastern Europe, they're really searching and looking for black men. I mean,
I told my nephew that the other day.
Yeah, like countries in Eastern Europe, such as without going into all the names of the countries, I can tell you that there is a supply and demand issue going on over there.
Yeah. Get on that breeding plantation, my man. Make that money.
Hey, go with it. If there's a demand, you know, if there's a demand for yours and you're a supply,
listen,
you got some leverage.
This reminds me of Star Wars, when they said, like, you know, no matter how tightly you grip the grains of sand, some are still gonna slip through some cracks
through your fingers
and everything. And that's what I'm thinking right now. It's like, you know, no matter how tight you try to squeeze on these things, you're just making it worse. You know, they make make the economy worse. So, you know, you go out and you fire all the black dudes and everything, right? Oh man, that's too bad and everything. So now all these black dudes are walking around with nothing but time on their hands.
I don't mind. But you know what though? Here's the thing. What's so crazy about it is when you explain this to your children, you know, and you sit there and say, you know, you don't think there should be any of the race mixing or anything like that. The reason why the kids go and do that anyway is because you have never given a decent explanation as to why.
Right.
And so if you can't give them a decent explanation as to the why, they're going to do it. And there isn't one, so you're stuck.
You know what I find is interesting about this conversation? What I find interesting about this conversation is not at no time during this conversation has anyone here given a friggin' opinion or a preference for or against the dating. And we've had a vibrant conversation about it. Because you can't stop it. You're not gonna stop it. But it's like, you know, it's like the stigmatization of it. You know, I was looking at you know, I look at, like, the internet is such a cesspool, you know, but Threads is like the most interesting cesspool right now. Okay. You know, you get some people that are still trying, it's still in its infancy. It hasn't quite reached like Twitter level, like, you know, crazy stuff and everything. And all that stuff is kind of dying too, because, like, I mean, honestly speaking, let's be honest, America has buyer's remorse right now about this guy Trump. You know, a lot of these people have, like, I shouldn't even said his name. I'm sorry I even said the name. But, like, you know, people are having buyer's remorse, and I see it. You see it across the board with different things, but, you know, this is the one place where people are still kind of, you know, so I forgot the point of what I was trying to get to, bringing up the Threads conversation that I had. And that's part of the bad part about getting old, because you forget things really quickly.
Right. Well, just as an aside, I am deliberately attempting to wean myself off of social media.
Good for you.
Good for you.
I don't no threads, no TikTok, no Facebook, no Instagram. I'm trying to get myself off. It's hard. And it's hard because a lot of times people will send you stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for you to look at it. So, but yeah, I'm slowly but surely trying to wean myself off of this jazz.
Well, it's all the information and everything, and none of the breaking down of the information. People don't know how to process it. So it's like what we're getting is like what you get is you got every dumb idea that comes into your head, and the generations have now gone up. You know, nobody told these kids that, like, you know, if you have a thought that it's not well thought out and you really don't know what you're talking about, to shut the fuck up before you actually like type it. There's no longer any consequences to saying dumb shit online. You know, you may think that there's consequences, and there is really, because like you get labeled forever. But you can say any dumb shit you want online now, and and you can find an audience. You know, you could say you're annoyed by the fact that people just don't like the way that X, Y, and Z goes, and you'll get 100 people saying like, you know, that annoys me too, and everything. And these are all dumb microaggressions that don't mean anything. And in the interim, they're out here voting on this shit that's like really changing your life forever. And, you know, you're talking about, you know, I'm not my ancestors. I don't understand why this person is even looking at me. You've got Asian people saying, you know, going at the Black community. You know, generations ago when they first came into this country, much like those people in the Middle East, you know, they were welcomed into Black neighborhoods. And now, you know, so it's like they don't need to be YT people. They're already the other ones.
Right. Well, they want to be. But, but again, it's proximity to the concept.
Everybody wants to be close,
because that's what's important.
You want to be close to the flame. They want to be, they're so busy trying to be model. And the reason why, I thought about it the other day, I was like, you know, the reason why everybody has Black fatigue, it's not because of the problems, not because of the complaining, it's because, you know, we're not the model minority. And the reason why we're not the model minority is because of the fact that I have a podcast, and about, like, you know, 500 other Black people across the country have a podcast. So when Black people find out some information, they want to talk about it and they want to spread it. They're not going to keep their mouths shut. And many times they're going to act upon things. Most of the things that these other minorities have and they benefit from the mouths of those same Black people that they're telling to shut up now. So when you have people that don't understand they don't understand how they actually got these things. It's like, you know, we complain about it, we make the noise about it and everything. They benefited from it. They benefited from these people saying, okay, we're going to give it to them, but we're going to give it to you. It's like the whole world is DEI to us. The whole world benefits from DEI except for Black people. You know, Asians benefited from DEI. Women benefit from DEI and everything. But the Black community on the whole and everything, we get the stigma and we get the label of DEI, but we don't actually get the benefits of DEI. There's no advantage to DEI. You know, they have to pick a lane. It's either they gave you welfare or they gave you DEI. Which one was it? Did they give us DEI or did they give us welfare?
Right. But John, here's the thing. Can you name, and you too, Grant, can you name a time when you were promoted because of DEI or affirmative action or anything? Have you got a promotion?
No.
I'm waiting for my promotion. I never got one.
Never.
No.
So I will say this. So when I first got on the fire department, there was a rumor that I heard that they were trying to balance out my class, Black to white. And my man told me that the only reason that I got in the class is because of my name. You know, so when you see Grant Lancaster, you don't think that you're gonna see me necessarily. Right. And a cat that had been on the job, you know, that possibly knew what he was talking about. He told me that like this is probably 2002. I got on the job in 2000.
Right.
He told me that in like 2002, 2003. So maybe.
Yeah.
So maybe.
This is the reality of life. This is the reality of life. And now we're having conversations about the reality of life. And now we got fatigue. Now all of a sudden everybody's tired because we're talking about, because you talk about what actually, it's like, it doesn't change anything. You know what I'm saying? Just because you have to listen to the truth doesn't change anything. They still have the same power. You're still in the same situation. You know, I think what it is that bothers people about it the most and everything is that really, honestly, these white people, they're not doing well either. But the thing is, though, they want to keep that over you. So they can't admit that they're not doing well either. So they just have to start a fight instead. You know, it's sort of like, you know, a girl that looks in the guy's pants and says, "Oh, you got the little wee wee and everything." So now he wants to punch her in the eye. You better not tell nobody. You know,
right? But so DEI is not
those things together.
DEI is less of a problem than WEI. White entitlement and competent is the bigger problem, and I got to give credit. I got that from a sister. Her name is Laree Daniel Favors. But white entitlement and competent is one of the greatest phrases that I've heard in my life, because you see it play out on all levels.
Yeah.
Right. This whole what's it called? The Clidocyst. What's the explosive diarrhea thing? Whatever that's called. Yeah. I mean, so that, you know, that was one of the things that was being screened out, but then they changed the rules, and now here it is, right in your face.
Right in your face.
Yeah. Right. So, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, when you put DEI means that this person was probably better qualified than whatever white candidate you was going to put up. To me, that's how I look at DEI, because I don't think that they just gonna put an average black dude ahead of a white dude that's, you know, better qualified than him.
It's never been that way. It's always been you have to be 3 and 4 times better.
Right. Exactly.
It's like, you know, I've been to places where, you know, when I've been Jaylen Brown. You know, essentially, like, you know, I went to an interview with this guy, and it was like, you know, for a supervisor in a call center, a small call center. And the guy told me basically, like, "Yo, you're too good. You need to go back to college."
Right. So,
you know,
George Bush was a C student and became president. Donald Trump, I don't even know if Trump has a degree.
Yeah.
And he's president.
You know, the thing is, like, it's true that it doesn't always matter. It really is true that it doesn't always matter. You can't really measure intelligence by a degree. There's a lot of dumbasses that have degrees. And
right. I'm not saying that about the degree itself. Right. I'm just saying as a white man, you don't have to even be close to the best to be considered for the best spot.
Well, what I was trying to do was I was trying to catch the white guys back in a way. And be like, you know, they do kind of have a point when they talk about it sometimes that you don't have to, but that just means you have to be proficient. You know,
right?
They got it twisted into thinking that, like, you know, because of the fact that I look this way, I'm better and everything.
Right.
And that don't make you read no faster or better. This is like, we have the highest level of illiteracy in this country than we've had in like something like 50 or 100 years now. We're now considered an illiterate country. Did you know that? That is like,
but John, you know what the issue is? Is the issue is in the school systems, they're not using books, paper, and pen anymore. Everything is on a tablet. They say that that's affecting the reading levels and the different things of the kids because they're reading it off of a screen versus actually off of pen and paper and writing it out physically with their hands.
But that doesn't change the fact that we're still dumber. And you know why we're still dumber? Because you have this data, like all that data that you read back. I know that data because of the lady, you know, the wifey. She was collecting that data and working with those organizations for decades. getting all that information. And they have all of the data about how sensory issues are different than, and how texture affects childhood and development, and how you actually go about the pathways, build different pathways in your mind, and will make you either more successful or less successful. They know that. But here in the United States of America, we still are arguing about our kids having their phones during the course of the day. Where in Europe, they have banned cell phones for kids up until the age of 16. You can't even get a cell phone now. If you have it now, you've got it. But in the future, they're going cell phone free because they're recognizing how stupid it is it makes their kids. So you have to ask yourself, if you live in this country, do they really want your kids to be smart? Do they really want your kids to develop their thought processes, their minds, their brains? Do they want them to challenge? See, the reason why we are always under attack is because we speak up, and we are always in the attack. When you get attacked and you get kicked, you get punched and you punched and you punched and you punched, and you're almost out and you're bloody, and you just reach your boop. You ain't hurting nobody. We know that as Black people, we may or may not be hurting anybody, but we're still going to punch. And these motherfuckers ain't punching. They're trying to punch at us. And they're fucking themselves up. Everybody's fucking themselves up. And everybody's twisted up and mixed up. This free speech thing ain't gonna last long either. This stuff like this podcast and everything, I'm not so sure that there's really a shelf life for this. Not unless you're selling out.
Yeah. It's the minister and the monks theory of the story, where they grew up in the same neighborhood, and they went to school together. They separated. The minister runs into the monk who's just eating beans and rice, and the minister says, and it applies today, the minister says, if you would learn to cater to the king, you wouldn't have to eat beans and rice. And then the monk says to the minister, if you learn to eat beans and rice, you wouldn't have to cater to the king.
Right.
Perfect analogy. So it's like we're on the process of making our choices, and it's obvious.
Yes.
It's like to me,
that's the issue. We're making choices.
We're all making choices and everything, and every time we see something, we see a wrong that's done, and we weigh in on that wrong, whether it be Asians shooting people in the back and everything, or it's a Black man drowning under or being unalived under mysterious circumstances and everything, where they have autopsies and they return everything except for 3 or 4 vertebrae in the neck. Why don't you just go ahead and say that how he got murdered? Because you took everything you returned everything except for those 3 pieces and everything, just like, and we see this, and this is right in front of your face, but it's Mississippi. And, nothing's going to happen in Mississippi. This is Medgar Evers all over again. They're just letting you know that no matter what, 60 years passes and you still ain't getting justice in that area. And then it goes to your comfort around these people. I'm sitting up here and I'm talking about these things that would benefit them, and they're not even comfortable being around me in many cases.
Yeah. But John, I'm gonna tell you, you go to Mississippi. I've been there recently. When I say recently, within the past couple of years, it's almost like it's a state in the United States, but it's almost like its own separate country. I'm not kidding. It's just things are done completely different there. It's literally its own entity. And so certain things that it wouldn't surprise me if you hear certain things there, because it's a totally different vibe there compared to any other place I've ever been.
It's not for me. Maybe it was for me once. We have all these different things. It's like all these things are coming to the light, and these things are happening for a reason. Maybe this trial is happening because it's time for people to see what's going on in Mississippi. If you're one of those conspiracy theorist type of people, there is more Temple Mounds in Mississippi than pretty much anywhere else in the country, Mississippi, Louisiana. For those people who feel that there may be some type of ancestral tie there. Same thing with Utah. And these are the places that we are entrenched in. To me, my observation is that the racism in those areas is very strong a lot of times.
But John, not to cut you off, but with Mississippi, what's happening is the demographic shift is occurring faster than they expected. And so the numbers of blacks percentage wise is going up.
Yeah.
And the numbers of whites percentage wise is going down. And that transition is happening faster than what they thought it would happen. So they're even saying by 2030, I mean, just based on the numbers, that it can go from a ruby red state to pretty much a light red state.
Well, I mean, they've always been there, but the reason why Mississippi has been the way what it does is that they hold the iron fist over these black people. If you're, the preschool to prison pipeline is made for Mississippi. You want to talk about people that don't vote and that are basically still in a lot of ways afraid to express themselves in that way, in that manner. And maybe in a lot of ways it's just more pure. And when I mean more pure, I mean that the evil is more pure. It's easier to see. You're not going to get a Democrat in Mississippi right now. And, from what we see a lot of times, the Democrats ain't no fucking good anyway. So
I don't know about that. I don't know if
they're saying Mississippi, some things could happen this year. Now,
yeah, I don't know if you cannot get it. I think you could get a Democrat in Mississippi. I mean, Mississippi is like 35-40% black.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Right.
It's always been usually black.
Right. But like most places, a lot of the problem is black people do not come out to vote. Now, there's some historical reasons why black people don't come out to vote, right? In mass.
Killings.
But if we did come out, if something were to happen and we did come out and vote our numbers, yeah, you could, because the white vote is gonna probably go close to it's gonna go close to 50-50. It might go 60-40.
Be 60-40.
Yeah, the white vote is gonna go 60-40. So if black people came out in mass and voted their numbers, and this is Mississippi, this is Louisiana, this is Alabama, whatever state you want to name, if black people came out and voted in mass, you could probably change some things.
And you know what it is, Grant? It's not that blacks in the urban areas of these states that you're describing, they vote.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The hardest part is the rural areas to get blacks to vote. In the
Exactly.
city areas, they got it down. The turnout has been high. It's in the rural areas, trying to reach them and tell them to go out and vote is really difficult.
Yeah.
They have that problem in Georgia, they have that problem in Alabama, and they have that problem in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, I'm just saying it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, there was high turnout in 2020 in Georgia amongst rural blacks there. They didn't vote in 2024. They stopped for some strange reason. But then, I mean, it's possible that it can happen. And these states, you got to look at something. Some of these states, Georgia's black population is about 30%, maybe a little bit more. Alabama's is about 25-26%. Mississippi, like Grant said earlier, is probably anywhere between 35 and 40%. Those numbers are just going to keep going up. I mean, just over the course of time, just through, people aging out, the white population is just getting older, so the numbers are going to continue to go in that direction. Will that change the what happens in the state, the voter wise?
Yeah.
Who knows? It's hard to say.
Yeah, well, I mean, the United States political system is bought and sold. So I'm not so sure that even making a change over at this point in time is really going to make any difference. I think that what we would probably see is a veil and a masking and an unveiling of something that's even deeper and even worse. I don't have faith in these things and in these systems any longer. I really don't. And I don't think that, I used to think that there was a time when you could vote Democrat and you could save the union, because then you can make the other people go away somewhat and you can bring it more back towards the center. And I don't feel that anymore. I feel like really what's happening is that the people who are claimed to be blue and everything, they are really completely and totally purchased. I think that the United States is a slave state. It's a slave country and everything. That's why I don't get mad whenever white people say like, oh, I want slaves again and this and this. What do you mean? You want like more of your own people? You want more of your neighbors? Because y'all all motherfucking slaves. We're all slaves here.
But John, it's not, it's gotten to the point where it's so good that not only do they not realize that they are getting a short end of the deal, but they're actually the ones who are marketing it.
Yes.
They're telling other whites that they need to be doing what's happening to them.
They are completely and totally like marching down the road to their own destruction.
Yeah.
And everything.
And that's the dangerous part for them.
Yeah. And it's like, so it's like, to me, it's like, that's a dangerous part for me because like, I don't understand, like, stupid is capable of anything, honestly speaking. And everything. I was saying before the show started and everything, I was like, going through like joke slogans for Born in Trouble. And I was like, Born in Trouble. You know what I'm saying? There's a guerrilla broadcast as gorilla as Chud the Builder. Chud the Builder wouldn't even think that we could get this gorilla. You know what I'm saying? And that dude's in prison. So it's like, and the truth of the matter is, but the whole joke about that, the reason why I could always joke about that and everything is that you can't say that to me and make it a joke to me because I've always said the same thing. Like, when you talk about a chimp, a white person looks more like a chimp than a black person, and they have the DNA. So it's like, to me, it's like, it's like a little kid coming up to me saying, I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I? I know you are. Like, that's what I hear and everything. But this is America right now. They are selling their own destruction. And it's like, I've been saying this like before, like years before, we were talking about how these jobs every year, in tech, they're getting rid of more of them. And now AI is right there and like they're getting rid of even more of them. And 1 in 3 men in the United States of America is unemployed. What the fuck? Nobody's talking about that. You want to talk about, you're talking about all this other shit, but 1 in 3 men is unemployed. What the fuck?
But John, that's why they're saying we're in a K-shaped economy because 1/3 of the country is doing really well, and the 2/3 are just trying to figure it out. And are in that check to check. They're in that check to check feeling.
What does the K stand for? Come on, motherfuckers, or what? Like,
no. Well, they're saying like one side of the K is doing really good, and everything else is, basically not.
It's nuts.
Yeah, and so if you got because I covered this on my podcast before. If you got 57% of the population, the working population, is essentially living check to check and can't afford a $1,000 repair on something breaks in their house or their car, and that's almost 60%. And then you got 80% of the population don't even have $5,000 in the savings account. I mean, you do the math and you see the outcomes. There's a lot of people, and what causes is if you're not doing good and you're looking at your neighbor and he's not doing good, or you perceive that he's doing maybe slightly better than you, your first reaction is to attack him.
Right.
Not attack the problem.
Right.
So you go to the closest person to you versus realizing that you've been hoodwinked and going after the issue. And the thing is, John, they say it only takes about 3 or 5% of the population to realize this and start the ball rolling. Well, but we can't even do that.
I just see a bunch of dumbasses, honestly. It's like, I'm just sitting here, I'm looking at this shit and I'm really like, Is someone gonna say something? Is someone gonna do something? Is someone gonna are you like y'all really gonna let this shit just this is the way that this is going again? See, because I'm an older dude, right? I've almost died the past 2 years, the past 4 years. I've almost left this fucking planet on this earth and everything. And I gotta tell you, it's kind of disappointing coming back to this shit. It really is. It is. It really is. It's kind of fucked up and everything. It's one day I just woke up and I was like, why am I back to listening listening and seeing these dumb motherfuckers do this shit? You got people I get on arguments with these people or these little discussions with these people online. And I'm usually 3 paragraphs in before I get completely eviscerate them. What the fuck are you talking about? Seriously, what the fuck are you talking about? And they don't see it until you point it out to them. And then it's so crystal clear. It's oh my God, what was I talking about? And I'm like, what, why? What are you motherfuckers doing? Seriously, I'm almost out of here. Look, I'm closer to 60 than I am to 20, right? So, you ain't gotta worry about me going and fucking on a whole bunch of girls or bitches right now and everything. You ain't gonna see that. That ain't gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna happen. I ain't wasting my time. I'm almost out of here 2 times and shit and everything. I'm cutting my deals and I'm doing my thing and I'm keeping my finance going, but I ain't trying to kill myself no more and everything and go crazy trying to kill myself. It's up to you motherfuckers to wake the goddamn up, wake the fuck up and everything. And I feel like if I'm always talking about it and everything and y'all ain't doing shit and everything, when it was my turn to do shit, I did shit. I always talk. I've been talking shit for fucking 20 years. I've been trying to wake motherfuckers up for 20 years in different ways. I've been in communities trying to do this shit and everything, advising people and everything and doing this shit. I ain't come back here to do this shit no more.
Well, you're going towards the back 9, so you people need to be doing stuff for you. I ain't going
towards the back 9. That's where you're going. I'm just not wasting the rest of my 30 years on this motherfucking planet. Talking to that shit and then fucking with these people like that. I ain't doing that no more. Yeah. That shit is over. It's done. It's dead. You know what I'm saying? I might point out shit to you, but it's I don't want to tell these people. It's yo, 130 you motherfuckers is out of work. You know what I'm saying? You're fucking getting divorced. You're talking about you're talking about black people and not being fathers and everything. And black people are the highest rate of fathers of in the country. You know what I'm saying? Good as far as quality fathers are concerned. So you got every fucking fact backwards. It's that's just the beginning of the line. Every fucking fact is backwards and shit. And there are some good stats for white people too. And everything, but y'all got this shit's you got everything fucking backwards. When a motherfucker's just gonna wake up and just be yo, we're tired of losing that shit. You don't have any money. You know what I'm saying? That generational money shit is done. You know what I'm saying? You got these tethers coming into this country, and I call them that because those tethers, they're not all tethers, okay? Because I have friends that are 1st and 2nd generation of every country, race, or whatever. And everything in the diaspora. But then there's these motherfuckers, just like there's always been that motherfucker, you know what I mean? Them people. And then there's these niggas. These.
Yeah.
Try not to be on one, fellas. I've been holding a lot back. I've had a lot back. I had a lot to say. I'm sorry, bro.
Well, yeah. The thing is, you speaking kind of about a revolution, and not necessarily a bloody revolution, but a change, right? On a mass scale, right? And that change at our age, we not the ones that's going to necessarily make the change. That change has to come from young people.
Well, that's right? What I said before.
Yeah,
in the previous podcast we did.
even in the karate movies, right? The teacher don't go fight the villain. The teacher train a student to go fight the villain.
But they're not our ancestors. See, that's another thing. Like, they're not our ancestors. I hear these motherfuckers talking about this whole separatist idealism about, like, before the 60s and everything, and how our ancestors had things so much better. I want to ask these motherfuckers, how many of y'all have actually spoken to any of your elders from that age? And actually gotten that, like, back from them and everything.
Right.
That they actually understand what is going on. See, me, like, and this brings me to, like, Alexander, what I'm saying, my cousin, I love that guy and everything. I believe he's gone right now. Rest in peace. He was living abroad. It's hard to get information from abroad. And his birthday came up this weekend. But we talked to him about what was going on at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's good and there was bad and everything. Y'all just think y'all just want to turn back the clock and you're just going to get the good shit and none of the bad shit. And then you're going to get that just by protesting, and nobody's going to get their head beat in or kicked in and everything. Those people fought and died and had their heads beat in for us to be able to have this conversation right now. And now motherfuckers don't respect them. And you can't speak that. You're not talking to me. You're not trying to figure out from me what actually happened. You want to try. They're too busy trying to get up on you. You know what I'm saying? And you got females that want to like, they want to talk about the matriarchy, and it's all that. I don't give a fuck about no matriarchy, no patriarchy. I want the best motherfucker to have the job.
They don't need to find out from you. They can Google it. That's the point. Yeah. That's why we are where we are. You know what I mean? When you talk about people are stupid, or whatever the word was that you said. Yeah, people are stupid because the education system is not there to educate. The education system is there to indoctrinate.
It really is, and how they've been indoctrinated is that now every woman is now a feminist instead of just being a strong woman, and every man who is just like a dickhead and everything is now just like is a toxic man and everything. And let's be honest, there's always been dickheads, and there's always been fucking like toxic. There's always been all these things. You know what I'm saying? It's just now y'all just like take everything and they make everything like so big. So now, like, your toxic behavior is the wrong thing. And, you judge people before they walk out the door. Nobody can fail and come back, So it's like, Malcolm X wouldn't be Malcolm X because he would have came out of prison and he would have been that ex-con motherfucker. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's like, people are not people then. They're not even, and it's like, and you know what? I don't mind if all the people don't people and everything, because like, it's, what is it, the 95s? 95's going 95. But this 5% ain't like, the 5% ain't hitting right now.
Right.
They ain't hitting right now. And that's why we back on the show. And that's why it's been too long of a show right now. So
it's the 85s. And it's the 85s.
It's the 85s, 85 and 85s. Well,
85s, 10s, and 5.
It's now 95. 5, 3, and 2, 1. 2, 3, and 1. You know what I'm saying? It's now 95, 2, 2, and 1.
Right.
That's the new math and shit. And Grant, if you doubt me, Google it.
Right.
My brother's born in trouble. Yeah, I'm sorry about my rant. I'm glad that we got a chance to talk. I think we're number one in like men's camaraderie or some shit. When you look it up and everything, Black Men Camaraderie, it's like Born in Trouble is the first show that you'll come up with. If you're looking up some odd shit like that in your search engine, I guess you deserve to listen to this podcast. You weird motherfucker.
Right.
I got nothing but love for y'all. I got nothing but love for everybody. Listen, I'm just like, I just been trying to figure it out myself, bro. And it's like, you know, once the physical thing got taken care of, if I took my shirt off right now and everything, the girls would start drooling. You want to lick my chest like I was 25 again. Well, y'all can't do it. You can't do it no more. Anyway, but like, you know, it's just like, you know, I think about it sometimes, like coming back from this journey and everything. And it's like, and I look at these people and I look at the news sometimes and I'm like, God damn, like what the fuck happened? Like, where'd y'all? It's not even so much about like, you know, one side or the other. It's your reaction. And I don't mean you, Grant, and I don't mean you, Andrew. I mean you, motherfucker. You know who I'm talking about. What the hell is wrong with you? What happened to you? What's up? Why are you so dumb?
Well, we have historical landmarks to kind of refer to. These young people don't have that, and they like, we remember stuff, or I mean, it's getting harder to remember now, but recall is a part of intelligence.
Yeah.
Right. So being able to remember stuff means something, and when you know, it's just a part of the education system that's not being utilized. So when you say people can't remember blah blah blah, or they can't, they got to always go to Google, or you know, always got to go to maps when they going somewhere, they can't remember simple directions to get somewhere. You know, it's a part of intelligence that's just being lost.
Well, it's a lost art. Conversation is a lost art. Let's find it. Born in Trouble. Andrew Johnson, do you have anything you'd like to say at the end of the show here to wrap us off, to kick off the goodbyes?
I think your rant covered just about everything I wanted to
cover. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you. Mr. Lancaster, do you have anything to say?
Love, peace, and soul.
There you go.
Baby. Big shout out to Mr. Brooks tonight. Mr.
Yes, sir.
Big shout out to Mr. Hopkins tonight and everything. You know, Born in Trouble. Fellas, we're going to come back. I might have to come back and do a show myself and just like have an all rant show where I can just get it all off of my chest.
Get it all out.
And just have nobody, because I got a lot of stuff to say to these dumbasses.
He can't get it all out, because it's just going to be more stuff to rant about.
It's going to be constant material.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get through half of the stuff I wanted to cover, you know, tonight. I said the big thing. I didn't get through anything. The only thing we barely got to cover was Jaylen Brown and everything, you know, and I feel, you know, and we didn't even really get to cover that really good and everything. I'm just saying, y'all stop being afraid. You know, you got to remember and everything. One of the reasons why that always struck me and everything, all these things in history, when I discover shit, the shit that hits me is always the stuff that people don't recognize. And the thing that hits me the most is that they've always killed the smart brothers over the years. It's always the smart
that's how
ones.
it's been throughout history.
Yes.
History, always take out the educated first.
Always take them out.
Always.
And you know,
that's why whenever someone invades a country or goes, they always get rid of the teachers first.
Yeah.
It's the first people they go after.
And sooner or later we got to get smarter. We got to realize that that's where, you know, it's not the money, it's not the other shit and everything. And like, you know, we gotta get out of like lanes, like, you know, people worrying about Anthony Edwards getting married. Did he sign a prenup with his girlfriend? That's what you worried about. You worried about this nigga's money. You know what I'm saying?
That's the part I don't get. I don't get why we're so concerned about another man's money.
Because it gives you a thought process, or that you actually have a part of that. It's just weird. You know what I'm saying?
I never discuss money. Like when I think of you guys, I don't sit there and go, I wonder how much money they got.
Right. But if I don't have two nickels to rub together and everything is a struggle, I don't want to think about my situation.
Yeah, you want to talk about somebody else's? Yeah.
I see that. But you know what, though? There's people that don't have two nickels to rub together, and they're thinking about things that actually matter every day.
This is true.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you get an understanding of like, like I always say, I'm not a rich man and everything. I'm not exactly fucking like, destitute right now, but I'm not a fucking rich man. I don't give a fuck about, but I've always been happy. I take joy in like, my conversations and my friendships and things like that. Those things are more important to me and everything. And I made that decision a long time ago. Especially like, when I was going through a lot of things by myself and everything, that I wanted that family. I wanted those friendships back. I wanted to keep them always and everything. And I think that that's what people need to, see. I saw something, I'm going to end it on this. I saw something about, they were talking about, I forget what it was, but it was like a country and they were talking about how they had lost their compassion and their love. And their ability to like, basically love one another and like, support one another. And somebody had said that is the beginning of the downfall of any country. When you like start losing your empathy and your passion for others because there's no place else for you to go. And you look at what's happening in this country. And then you look at other places that are basically pumping the brakes because they're seeing what's happening in this country. And it just makes you wonder. It makes you wonder, why'd you bring me back? Or in trouble. July episode. Love you fellas, man. I'm gonna holler at you. I'm gonna stop the stream right now and say peace.
Peace.
Later.